In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a PPC report using BigQuery. We're going to create the tables inside Porter Metrics, then we're going to send it to Google BigQuery, and finally, we're going to use Looker Studio to create our dashboard. Let's go. I'm already logged in my Porter Metrics account, and I'm going to click on Create. I'm going to select BigQuery. Now I'm going to select the data sources for this PPC report. I'm going to choose Meta Ads, Google Ads, and TikTok Ads. I'm going to name this connection. It's going to be PPC report, and I will click on Next. Now I'm going to select the accounts for each data source that we just selected. I select my accounts, and I save them. I will do the same for Google Ads and the same for TikTok Ads. Select accounts, save them. Now I will click on Next. Perfect. In this window is where we are going to create a table that we will be sending to Google BigQuery. So here in data sources, you're going to see the data sources you selected for this table. We don't have to change anything here. Now we click on BigQuery, and here we are going to select the Google Cloud account where we are going to send this table. In this case, it's going to be my Google Cloud account, Santiago Cardoso. I will select my project ID. When you click on the drop-down, the projects that you will see are the ones that are under the Google Cloud account that you selected. In this case, I have two projects, my first project and marketing data test project, as you can see in the screen. So here in the Porter interface, now I see these two projects, marketing data test project and my first project. I will select marketing data. Now I'm going to choose my dataset location. It's going to be US multi-region. I'm going to choose my dataset. When you click on this one, the datasets that you're going to see are the ones that are inside the project that you just selected. So right now in my Google BigQuery account, I'm here in my marketing data test project. And if I click on datasets, now I will see all the datasets that I have already inside that project. I have a CRM report data dataset, an e-com dataset, a marketing ads dataset, and many more. So here in the Porter user interface, when you click on dataset, you will see the list of datasets that you have inside the project you selected. You can create a new dataset by clicking on Create New, but for now, I will choose the PPC report data. Finally, I'm going to name the new table that I will be creating. In this case, it's going to be campaign performance. Perfect. Now I'm going to choose the metrics for this table. Remember that metrics are numbers. Anything that is a number is a metric. Anything that you can count is a metric. So for this table, I'm going to add blended ad spend, blended ads impressions, blended clicks, Meta Ads amount spent, Google Ads cost, and now I'm going to create a metric. In this box, I can type in natural language what is the metric that I want to create, and the AI will help me create the formula. So in this case, will be divide blended ad spend by blended clicks, so that way we can know the CPC. I click on the arrow. Here you see the formula that AI crafted, and I'm gonna name this CPC. I hit on create, and now here in the table, you can see that now we have a column named CPC. Perfect. Now I'm going to add dimensions to this table. I will add the date, blended account name, and blended campaign name. You can see here in the table preview that now we have those two columns. And also I'm going to add blended data source name. Perfect. I can also create custom dimensions if by any means Meta Ads or Google Ads doesn't contain a category that I need for my analysis. So I'm going to click on create dimension, and this is what I typed. If blended campaign name contains TOFU in capital letters or TOFU in lowercase, call it TOFU. If contains awareness, call it TOFU. If contains alcance, call it TOFU. If contains público caliente, that means warm public, call it BOFU. And if contains lookalike, call it lookalike. That will help me to categorize really quick the campaign names based on the taxonomy that the brand is using. I will click on the arrow. I will name this field as naming conventions. And now you can see here in the table preview that there are some campaigns that comply with the condition. So we are naming them TOFU, TOFU, MOFU, TOFU. Perfect. Now we click on create. You can see also here in the table preview that we already have some campaigns named as TOFU. Now I'm going to select the date range. We have many date ranges like last 7 days, last 30 days, last 28 days, this month, last month, this year to date. There are many. You can choose the date range that you want. In my case, I'm going to choose this year to date. Now I'm going to apply a filter because I think we can remove all of these campaigns that doesn't match the naming convention that we created. So I will remove them. So I'm going to click on filter. I will select the condition as exclude. Then the field will be naming convention. That was the dimension that we created. I will select is null, and I'm going to refresh my table. Now you can see that we remove all of those null rows in the naming convention. Perfect. Now I'm going to schedule how often I want this table to be refreshed. I'm going to say every Monday of the week at 9 a.m. That's a redundancy, but what can I do? Let's click on the arrow. Perfect. And finally, I'm going to choose the write mode for this table. In this case, I'm going to choose overwrite. That means that every time the table refreshes, we will destroy the previous table and we will create a brand new table with the new data. Awesome. Now I'm going to click on BigQuery and I'm going to copy the table name, and I will name this query inside Porter exactly as the name I'm going to give to the table inside Google BigQuery. That's because for me, this is the best way to organize your data. So I'm going to call it campaign performance. I will save the query. It says that the query was saved. And finally, I'm going to run this query and it says that it was successful. So let's go to my Google BigQuery account and see if we can find this table. So we are right now here in my Google BigQuery account in the dataset sections. You can see all the datasets that I have. I'm going to click on PPC Report data. That was the dataset that we selected when we were creating this new table inside Porter. And now you can see that here in the tables, there's a table named campaign performance. That's the table that we just created. As soon as you send a new table to Google BigQuery, you will always see an additional line that it starts with temp underscore and then the rest of the name of the table you just created. Never mind about that line. That will remove in a few seconds after you send it. So I'm going to click on campaign performance. I can see the schema, the details, and if I click on preview now, I can see the full table with all the columns that we selected inside Porter. And also you can see here that the naming conventions remains. That's perfect. Now let's connect this table to Looker Studio so that we can create our dashboard. So we are here in Porter Metrics again, and if you see in the top right, there's a button that says View in Looker Studio. If you click on that button, you will be redirected to Looker Studio. You have to acknowledge the data access, and then you will see here in the data panel that you have connected a data source that the name is campaign performance. That's the table that we just created. You need to click on Save and Share on this Looker Studio. You acknowledge and save again, and now you will save this new Looker Studio so that later you can go back and create any chart that you want. This is the first option. The second option is that you can go to Looker Studio, you create a brand new report, you select BigQuery as a connector, and here you will have to select the project that contains the table that you want to connect to this Looker Studio. In my case, the table is inside the project marketing data test project. So I will select it. Then you have to select the dataset that contains the table. The dataset is PPC Report data. I will select it. And finally, you choose the table you want to connect. In this case, is campaign performance. I select it and I click on Add. Perfect. Now that we have done that, we have the table here in this brand new report, and we're going to create some charts. Let's change the title of this report to PPC report, and let's create some charts. I'm going to insert a scorecard. By default, the metric of all the charts is always record count, so I'm going to change that to blended ad spend. Apparently, we have spent around $1 million. Now I'm going to create another scorecard. This time, the metric will be blended ads impressions. I'm going to create another scorecard, and the metric will be blended clicks. Now that we have created these scorecards, I can take a look real quick to the total ad spend, the total impressions, and blended clicks. This is pretty useful. Now I'm going to create a new chart. It's going to be a time series chart. In this case, you can see that the metric is blended ad spend, the dimension is date, and what we are seeing is the evolution of the ad spend over time. So we started our GR a little bit behind 30K, and by March, we are already above 50K. Perfect. Now I'm going to reduce the size of this chart, and I'm going to insert a new one. Perfect. I just reduced the size of this chart, and the metric of the new chart is now blended ads impression. So we are seeing the evolution of ads impression over time. To this chart, I can add more metrics. So I will add blended clicks to see what's the difference. Now I can add more charts. I'm going to insert a vertical bar chart. I will click on it, and I will change the dimension to blended data source name, so that way I can know how much we are spending on each platform. If you can see, Meta Ads takes almost all the budget of the ad spend. And now I'm going to create another vertical bar chart with the same logic as the time series charts above. This time I'm going to select blended clicks and blended impressions as metrics. You can see that we have a double chart with a double y-axis. So for the blue bars, the left y-axis is the one we have to take a look, because there's a big difference with clicks. And for the clicks, we have to take a look to the right y-axis. Now I'm going to add a table so that way we can see the ad spend and the performance of each campaign. I will change the blended data source name for blended campaign name. The metric will remain the same, blended ad spend. I will remove the row numbers of this table. I don't like them. And now I'm going to add a new dimension. In this case, will be naming conventions. That's the custom dimension we created. That you can see now that here below naming conventions, we can see some campaigns with TOFU, 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 and one with MOFU. And I'm going to add now some more metrics. I will select blended ad impressions and blended clicks. I can distribute evenly this table later. And this is basically how you can create a PPC report out of BigQuery tables. See you in the next video.